Nice.
Well, what happened was I got there to the campsite, and somehow I lost my balance just standing still, and I fell over. It was the weirdest thing I've ever happened in my life, but ended up damaging some of my ribs. Doctor suggested 6 to 8 weeks before I try anything like that again. So well, good morning, and welcome out to Ride for Life and Morning Thoughts. And been a little while since I've been here, a few days anyway. Actually, I'm supposed to be on a ride going across the country right now. But if you haven't heard, and if you don't check out my webpage and the Facebook page, what happened was I began the ride actually May 3rd and got to my first stop, or my first place I was going to camp out overnight. It was only 30 miles from my house, so it wasn't that far. And I had planned that. I had planned to only take about 30 miles each day for about the first week or so, trying to get myself back in shape. Well, what happened was I got there to the campsite, and somehow I lost my balance. I was just standing still, just wait. I was going to get off the bike, but then just standing still, and I fell over. It was the weirdest thing I've ever happened in my life, but ended up damaging some of my ribs, and doctor suggested 6 to 8 weeks before I try anything like that again. So that kind of put that ride on hold for a while anyway. Probably not going to do any long rides this year again anyway. So, but I want to continue on, and let me talk a little bit. You know, I call this the Ride for Life is the name of the channel, and I'm going to continue to call it that. We started this back in 2021. I wanted a purpose to do this for, so we started doing it for to end abortions, and this is before Roe v. Wade was overturned, and so I started the ministry. At that time, we called it adoption, not abortion, and that's still what we want, is adoption, not abortion. You know, and then the next year, the following year, I changed it to the Ride for Life, because really that's what we're talking about is riding for life, and we've added a few other things like you know, ending sex slavery and child sex slavery and all of that, and so that's kind of where we are, and that's where we're heading, and where we want to keep going, because we have a world that's going down, but we have an answer that could take us back up. And I have that answer. I know that answer, and that answer is in Jesus Christ. And I know what he's done in my life, and I know what he's done in others' lives, and I know what he can do in your life if you don't know him yet. And so we want to look at it from that perspective. But what I want to do, I've started doing some classes online, and I'll put some links down below for you if you're interested in them. One of them is a Constitution Alive class, and it's I host a class. I don't actually teach it, but I host a class, and it's a great class. And then another one I do is called American Campfire Revival, and once again I host it, and what's being taught in that second one is this book here. It's called The American Covenant, The Untold Story, and it's an exceptionally good book. It's really, really a good book, and talks about some of the things that are not being taught anymore about our founding. And it goes back to the Pilgrims and different things like that. But it's very good, very interesting. And the way it's presented in this class is just, it's so good, so engaging, and it gets you thinking, gets you studying, gets you wanting to find out what in the world really did. Who are these guys? Who were these people that came and founded this nation that is exceptional in everything it does? It's the greatest nation. It's the most benevolent, most generous, most. It's just in the world, in the history of the world, there's never been a nation like America. Now we hear all kinds of things like, one of the slogans is "Make America Great Again." I heard a guy say that America's never been great. Well, he didn't read the history, and he doesn't look around to the world. If it's not great, why do we have millions of people trying to get in here? Why are they leaving their country? Why not just stay in your country if America's not great? It is great. And the reason it's great is because of the principles that it was founded under. And I want to start talking about that a little bit in my morning thoughts. And one of them was, we were talking about abortion. Did you know in the framing that it was talked about? I've got a quote here, and I'm going to read it. It's from James Wilson. He was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence and Constitution. Wilson he was actually one of the first appointed justices to the Supreme Court. So here we go. Here's what he says. He goes, "With consistency, beautiful and undeviating human life from its commencement to its close is to be protected by the common law in the compilation of law. Life begins when the infant is first able to stir in the womb, and by the law, that life is protected." That was from one of the first justices in the Supreme Court. And they go on to, so it's hard to understand how we've deviated so long. And then in 1973, the Supreme Court said, well, it's not a protected right. Right there, it clearly says that it is. John Quincy Adams, another one of the early founders. Well, his father was a founder, and John Quincy Adams later became a president. But he said, this is what he said. He said, ask the Declaration of Independence, and that will tell you that its authors held for self-evident that the right to life is the first of the inalienable rights of man, and it's to secure and not destroy the governments are instituted to protect it. In other words, the right to life is the first inalienable right that we're given to by God in the Declaration of Independence. So next week I want to, or next video, I don't know if it's going to be next week or not. It might be sooner than that. But in my next video, I'm going to talk about covenants and what they are, and how they apply, and some of the covenants that were made in America. They were made to God, and they were made for us as a people, and they're still in effect today. So, well, listen, it's good to be back, and it's good to have you here, and thank you so much for tuning in. If you would, just like it, and if you haven't subscribed to it. But if you like it, that really helps me on YouTube and these different channels that I'm on. It kind of elevates it. I don't know how that works, but I just kind of do want to get these messages out. I'm not trying to make money. I'm trying to save a country, save a nation. So God bless you. This is Randy, the Oiling Chief, and we will talk to you later.